Welcome into the CHGO White Sox Podcast. On today's episode, we will talk about how Blake Snell signing with the Dodgers affects Garrett Crochet's trade market here on the CHGO White Sox Podcast. Welcome into the CHGO White Sox Podcast, coming to you live on this Sunnyside Summer Wednesday.
It is?
I just feel bad for the Sunnyside people because we did our Friday show on Monday and we didn't do the Sunnyside stuff. So, coming to you live on this Sunnyside Summer Wednesday. This is the CHGO White Sox Show. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders. Welcome into the CHGO White Sox Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, Jared Wyllys, sitting in for Vinny Duber. He's our CHGO baseball writer. You're right about the White Sox. You're right about the Cubs.
That's right.
You're a man of multifaceteds. What's it called?
A multifaceted man?
Oh, sure, something like that. This is not only a man who was on the White Sox podcast today and the Cubs podcast today, and on Monday doing the White Sox and Cubs podcast, apparently also running a half marathon.
Today.
Yeah, this morning.
What's wrong with you? You can read Jared's work at allchgo.com. The man in the middle, Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him at Ecknerwall23. You're more of a bike guy.
Yeah, I did not ride the bike. I haven't rode the bike in a minute. It's too cold.
It's too cold.
Yeah, I'm one of those people.
We're being produced today by Lawrence Benedetto.
Oh. Hello.
Welcome into the show. Hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We have obviously a ton of Chicago sports coverage for you, so make sure you're subscribing. We have Bears coverage tomorrow as they play the Lions on Thanksgiving. Yesterday there was just a Blackhawks or Bulls pre or post game show. I think that's tonight.
Tonight we have both a Bulls and a Blackhawks game on Blackout Wednesday, so Perfect. There will be post games for both.
And Matt Peck will likely be blacked out.
From rage.
Yeah, probably just from rage.
All right, cool. But we have a ton of Chicago sports coverage for you. You can become a diehard today at allchgo.com/diehard. Hit that thumbs up button and make sure you're subscribing. Let's get into the news of the day. Last night, around 10 p.m., Blake Snell posted on his Instagram a picture of him in a Dodgers uniform. And then about 5 minutes later, everyone goes and confirms the report. Blake Snell, Snellzilla, is now a Dodger. 5 years, $182 million. A signing bonus, I believe, of $52 million, and then there'll be $60 million of it deferred. But at the end of the day, no matter which way you cut it and which way the money is deferred, Blake Snell is now a Dodger. What was your immediate thought, Jared?
The rich get richer. We talked about this actually in the Cubs show this morning about the Dodgers and the way the Dodgers are operating. And you can get mad at them all you want, but they're operating within the rules that the current collective bargaining agreement allows for. So what I think many people really want is for their team to act like the Dodgers are, which is spend however much money you want to spend. Go out and get all of the best players, and look, it pays off. You won a World Series this year, and I would say they're well positioned to defend that World Series and probably win a few more before this competitive window closes in 2040 something. But yeah, why not? If you can, you've got the ownership group that's willing to spend the money like they're spending, then yeah. And the deferred money is really it's working. You're getting these players to agree to these deals based on large chunks of deferred money, which helps them not only to keep their yearly costs down, but allows for them to be able to go out and get Ohtani and Yamamoto and then turn around the next off season and get Blake Snell and just keep adding like they have been. It's good to be a Dodgers fan these days.
And I keep on seeing people, and Jared talked about it a little bit right there, getting mad at the Dodgers for being active, for not settling for just winning a World Series. I was just thinking about this. If the White Sox had the Dodgers rotation of last year with another piece coming back this year in Ohtani, they would have been settled. And most White Sox fans were like, hey, man, we just won a World Series. Yeah, that same rotation, bring them on back. Dodgers like, we're not settled. We're not comfortable being the world champions. You know what's better than being the world champions? The returning world champions, the back-to-back world champions, and leaving nothing to chance. And the Dodgers just signed Blake Snell to a deal that is $100 million plus more than any White Sox has ever signed for. Those are the disparities. They share only one thing, a spring training facility. Other than that, that's the top of the MLB, and the White Sox are the bottom. So I get mad that the Dodgers are right there with the White Sox. They see them. The White Sox see them every day from February until about April. And like, no, we don't want to be like that. We're going to go the opposite way. And yeah, great job by the Dodgers. As a secondary Padres fan, I'm mad because Blake Snell was good on the Padres. His last year he was there. He was kind of bad early for Giants last year, and then he figured it all out and got to be Blake Snell again. And he's going to be Blake Snell in L.A., and it's going to be ridiculous. They're going to have like a 6-man rotation. It's going to be dominant every day. They're not going to lose any games next year. It's going to be so frustrating that the Dodgers are just that team. And I wish some other teams like the White Sox, which don't have Dodgers money, but could act Dodgers-esque, especially in this division, and be bullies with the money. But that's never going to happen under Jerry Reinsdorf.
I think the most surprising thing is it's just the Dodgers signing Blake Snell. I wasn't thinking that they were even in on his market. I thought the Sasaki thing was possible. I thought the Soto thing was possible. I never pictured them as a team for Blake Snell. And it makes more sense. You know, he has been great, 2-time Cy Young, and they're looking for innings. He's had some health issues, but if you give him a full offseason where he knows where he's going, he'll be able to train and have his body ready, and hopefully he'll be able to give you a full season. But I just wasn't even expecting this. Like that, I think that's the most surprising thing is this team just won a World Series. You'd think that they'd be still hungover from all of their partying, and yet here they are. The two teams in LA seemingly are the only teams that are aware that free agents started. You know, you have the Angels signing everybody, Travis d'Arnaud, Kyle Hendricks, who else? There was another weird one. Oh, yeah, you say Kikuchi, and then you have the Dodgers signing Blake Snell. Other than that, there hasn't been any real moves. It's just surprising that, you know, not that the Dodgers are spending money. That's kind of what they do. It's just that they were going to sign Blake Snell at all. I thought maybe they get Soto, but Snell was out of nowhere.
And a Scott Boras client, too. You know, he usually likes to let the market play out a little bit longer and let teams go against each other. Blake Snell said, I did that last year, and that wouldn't work out well for me. That contract I got for the Giants, while 1 year it worked out, but I want some security. I want to have my Thanksgiving to be chill and cooled out. They offering 182, baby. I'm in 5 years. I'm 32 years old. This is my last contract. I'm ghost. I ain't gonna get better than that. And that's a very surprising thing. And like you, Sean, I was not looking at the Dodgers to get Blake Snell at all. I was looking for my Padres to get him back. Maybe his hometown Mariners to get him. The Giants still in that conversation, but no, the Dodgers like, you just want money? Money we got, and we have an opportunity to put you in the rotation. So. Get your ass over there as the third starter for us immediately.
It's not a bad idea. Connor saying the Dodgers nearly have $1 billion in deferred money that gets paid from 2030 to 2039. $680 million of that is on Shohei Ohtani. $115 million of that is Mookie Betts. $62 million is Blake Snell. $57 million is Freddie Freeman. And $50 million is Will Smith. I mean, the whole reason they're able to do this is because they're able to give people upfront money like Blake Snell.
Right.
But also any team could do this.
Yeah, there's nothing stopping anybody from following this model that the Dodgers are demonstrating will work. Players will take deferred money. They will sign contracts that involve large chunks of deferred money. They appear to be fine with that. And from a player's perspective, it's got to be kind of nice knowing that, yeah, I'm going to make some money now, but I also know that I have the guarantee of all of this, the rest of this money that will come after I'm done playing, when my earning potential is really, as a player, is done. Now it's just based on what I earned during my career, or like in these players' cases, you've got this deferred money. I think the interesting thing maybe is projecting forward. If the Dodgers are paying close to $1 billion in deferred contract money in the next decade, what does what does their roster look like in the 2030s? But, you know, if you've won 3 World Series between now and then, maybe who cares?
Yeah, if you win that many
merch.
Yeah,
right.
You made it up in playoff money. You made it up in merch, and 50,000 people for however many playoff games, I'm sure, are paying for the Shohei Ohtani contract that's going to be in 2030 to 2039. The Dodgers let future Dodgers owners worry about that, and the future Dodgers owners yeah, it's still us making a bunch of money, but we're fine with that because we're printing money here in LA.
And by then you will have probably built you've got a dynasty that the Dodgers brand will be even stronger than it already is. And so you can maybe get by with a decade of not winning like they're probably going to be.
Absolutely. And, you know, it all comes to an end at some point. The Yankees dynasty had to end. But at that point, they didn't care that they were spending all that money. I mean, they were building a Death Star every single year. And baseball wasn't bad in the 90s. Like, I wasn't around. You know, I was born in 97. But I don't think there was this same, you know, complaining with the Dodgers as there is now. It's probably, you know, multiplied because of social media. But still, like, the Yankees were doing this in the 90s. Right. The Dodgers going out and spending all of their money on somebody has been seen before.
It's not a new thing. The only thing that really changes is the total dollar amounts that we're talking about. You know, there's, you know, the story about Babe Ruth getting a contract back in the 20s where he's making more than the president was, and his joke was, well, I had a better year than he did. So people have talked about player salaries for 100 years now. So you're right. It's not like a new thing. And every decade or every era, there's a team or an organization that seems to figure out, like, hey, there's no salary cap in this sport. So what's really stopping us from spending however much we want? And if you're okay with the luxury tax bill that you get, then what's the big deal? I referenced this on the Cubs show, but the Mets have $100 million luxury tax bill this year. They're still in on Juan Soto. So, you know, if your owner doesn't care about paying that bill, then so be it.
It's not that, like, if you are doing league to league as far as NBA versus MLB and the luxury tax that they have to pay, NBA's luxury tax, especially if you go year after year, is very punitive. You, like the Golden State Warriors, they paid pretty much dollar for dollar for their contract for the luxury tax. I think it was like $200 million as the contract, $200 million for the luxury tax. Baseball's is not that punitive as NBA is. So, yeah, if you have the money, Steve Cohen's $16 billion deep. $100 million extra dollars is pocket change to him. And I do mean pocket change to him. He can't spend $16 billion in this lifetime. And the Dodgers assume they can't spend that much money. And Jerry Reinsdorf has how much money? $2-3 billion? He can't spend all that money, and he's like, I won't.
Hey, from what I, am aware of too, most of these businessmen, they purchase these Major League Baseball teams because they make money.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like, the Mets are poor. Like, It's not like, this is a failing business. This is a team in the largest market ever.
And that's the thing, though. The smart business people, like the Guggenheim Company and Magic Johnson,
here we go.
They understand spending money gives you money. You got to spend money to get money. Same thing, Steve Cohen, same thing with the Yankees. The cheap teams, the White Sox, the A's, don't spend money, and you see their current states. Both looking to move somewhere else, both looking for handouts, instead of Dodgers have been playing in Dodger Stadium since their inception in L.A., pretty much. They're not changing. They're not moving from that cash cow, and they're keep on spending money. Same thing with the Mets. They're just spending countless money, and to varying degrees on both of those accounts. They're making money, though. Steve Cohen's making money on the Mets. Same thing with the Guggenheim people and the Magic Johnson ownership group.
Absolutely. We are going to take a break. We got to tell you about some of our great sponsors on this Sunnyside Summer Thursday.
It's not what we call it anymore.
Well, it's not summer. What do we call it?
We just call it Sunnyside Days at CHGO.
Okay, I didn't get that memo.
Oh, you definitely missed
But
that.
also, like the whole point is like,
summer.
Sunnyside
Alliteration.
makes your, even though it's winter, even though it's fall, it kind of makes your day
because it's
summery
sunny
day.
Oh, it's a sunny day.
It makes it feel like summer.
We're going to take a break here on the CHGO White Sox Podcast. We want to let you know about our friends over at Chevy. Our friends at the CHGO Bear Show was just in Fox Lake visiting. Ray Chevy. With Black Friday sales events going on all month long at Ray Chevrolet, you could score doorbuster deals on your next vehicle without the door-busting stress. Head in today to shop their huge selection of new Chevy models with special Black Friday prices. Right now, take up to $3,000 up to $13,000 off MSRP on most new Chevy models, or shop over 125 of their vehicles priced under $20,000. As one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest inventories. So visit our partner this November at their location in Route 12 in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. And if you've heard of Ray Chevrolet, you've also heard of Ray's Price Promise. They're guaranteed to make your next vehicle more affordable than ever with no price changing, no add-ons, and no hidden fees ever. So shop the Black Friday sales event. All month long by visiting Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
Hey, Jarrett, did you know that ComEd can help businesses save money by becoming more energy efficient?
Herb, I did not know that ComEd did that.
Yeah. The energy efficiency program can help find up to 35% in energy savings.
35%?
Yeah.
What does a business have to do to get in on that?
Just sign up for a free facility assessment at comed.com/biz.
Why aren't more businesses doing this?
I don't know. We just talked about businesses before this segment, and so maybe they forgot the website.
ComEd.com/biz?
Yeah.
ComEd.com/biz?
Mm-hmm.
ComEd.com/biz?
Yes. One more time.
ComEd.com/biz?
That will do it.
Wait, what was it?
It's ComEd.com/biz.
Gotcha.
Terms and conditions apply. Offers are subject to change. Actual savings will vary by customers' energy usage and rate. The ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is funded in compliance with state law.
All right, I got to jump in real quick. And I appreciate everyone hanging out with us, whether you're Shane and a Cubs fan, whether you're the fat hipster, who I agree with. They should acquire every Montgomery currently playing. I think that's a good idea.
Montgomery Burns?
We had
excellent.
Every Garcia, right, filling the outfield at one point. Let's fill every ninth spot with a Montgomery. We can get Jordan Montgomery. He's a pitcher. Braden Montgomery, he could play the outfield. Colson Montgomery, he could play the infield.
There you
Just
go. You're
need
done.
6 more.
Okay.
There you go. But, Christian, appreciate the thought. And let's talk about this right now, because then we'll go into Garrett Crochet and the power rankings of teams that are most likely to acquire him. Because this was going to be part of our discussion on Monday, but we ended up shelving it. The Angels do sign Yusei Kikuchi. I think it's 3 years, $63 million. They previously signed Kyle Hendricks to a 1-year deal. They signed Travis d'Arnaud to a 2-year, $12 million deal. I believe there's another one in there as well that they ended up inking.
They traded for Soler, I believe.
They traded for Soler, and they signed Kevin Freeman. That was the big, headliner right there, blockbuster, Kevin Freeman. Christian saying, Angels stepped up this offseason so far. Wish we made a change like them. I completely disagree with you, Christian, as respectfully as I can. I really do disagree with this. I think that Artie Moreno is just spinning the wheels, trying to get a team that is better than the franchise worst. And I think Chris Getz is taking the long-term approach to doing this, actually trying to solve internal problems where Artie Moreno is throwing cash at the problem. I think this is what Rick Hahn's organization and his tenure ran into was, we'll spend $75 million on Dallas Keuchel or Yasmani Grandal or whatever, and we'll plug that hole, and then all these young guys will come up. Even with the Angels, they don't really have a true development system. This is a team that's trading away Kai Busch and Edgar Carraway for Lucas Giolito and Reynaldo Lopez just to cut those two a week later for nothing. Like, the Angels are so ass backwards that I am glad the White Sox are not spending money like them. They're spending money, if they go out and spend $75 million or whatever the Angels have spent so far this offseason, how many wins does that actually get them? The Angels are still going to be a 75 win team or worse this year, even with this money spent. The White Sox spending this type of money, they're at 110 losses instead of 112, 115. Like, there's not going to be a significant jump made by signing free agents just because you're spending money. I think the idea of at least building the internal is a smart idea. I would rather see the monies be spent on like Garrett Crochet, which is, a different conversation. I
mean, it kind of reminds me of the old school post-2005 Kenny Williams White Sox signings, where you're just signing middle-to-the-road guys and names that people would recognize that used to be good. And you're like, all right, that's a name that's kind of good. And like, oh, I've heard of Scott Schoenweiss. I've heard of Darren Erstad. Yeah, great. Awesome. Let's get those guys on our team. And then when they come here, they're Scott Schoenweiss and Darren Erstad, not of the past, of the current ilk. And so, yeah, I see what Artie Moreno is doing. It's just a lot of activity that people are confusing with achievement. And they're doing something just like, oh, look at us. We're moving. We lost our most games in the history of our franchise. We will not stand for that. So we're going to sign all the mediocre players in the world. Now, if they do like I think they should do and what I think they probably will be in the market for, sign a Max Fried, then I'll be like, you're cooking with gas. All right, Angels, I see what you're doing. They need those starting pitchers. Just to throw some money to Yusei Kikuchi, which is probably going to be their second best pitcher on their staff. Good, solid. But you need an ace, a top-of-the-rotation guy to compete with the Seattles, compete with Houston, compete with Texas out there in the AL West. And so, yeah, that's nothing special going on for me. I would not want the White Sox to be doing this middle-of-the-road type of signing free agents and getting people like Jorge Soler that people have heard of, but no one's looking for Jorge Soler nowadays. Like, he's not that guy that the Royals acquired or the guy that went off for the Braves a couple of years ago. He's the guy that sucked for the Cubs for a long time.
Well, and I don't understand why they're cutting Patrick Sandoval. I understand that there's been some ups and downs, but yeah, still, I mean, he's 28 years old. You're relying on old Tyler Anderson and old Yusei Kikuchi. I mean, this is a player with 6.2 career WAR, and what, out of his last 4 seasons, 2 of them have been above 2 WAR, and even then, he wasn't a negative player in the past 2 years. I find their decisions to be very odd.
And why is Perry Manassian still the general manager? He's terrible. Actively out loud bad. Sorry, Jared, go ahead.
No, yeah, I agree, because what they are doing sets them up for kind of perpetually existing in the same space. Whereas for as painful as this past season was for the White Sox and for their fans, you at least like seeing them doing something slightly different gives the possibility that they are going to move in the right direction. So, Sean, like you said, maybe it's 110 losses in 2025, but maybe the year after that, then you're back in under 100 losses, and you're moving in a some kind of positive direction. Whereas if you're an Angels fan, it's just like, we're going to watch a 75-win team in perpetuity.
Yeah, right. And it's not like there's like these upcoming prospects for the Angels. Like, I mean, you have Montgomery, you have all the pitching, Schultz and Hagen Smith. It doesn't seem like there's a true person that you can lock onto in the Angels prospect ranking that you could really build around. I haven't heard much about Christian Moore. He's their second ranked prospect who's a second baseman, or Nelson Rada, who is their 4th ranked outfielder. There are 3 names in their top 5, Caden Donna, George Klassen, and Ryan Johnson. I know I've heard a lot of good things about George Klassen. They required him from the Phillies. I forget for who. Is that Soriano? Who did they get for? Anyways, he was traded by the Phillies, which was a good pickup by the Angels, but I don't see a true building piece around there. The White Sox, you could look at Montgomery, you could look at Ramos, Vargas. Still, they're looking to flip him, or at least try to see if he can have anything. Would you rather have Robert or Trout right now? You know, Robert making a lot less money. There's a way out to get out of that contract just next year. There's a lot.
There's a club option. Yeah,
easier way to talk yourself into Luis Robert being healthier at 27 than Mike Trout being at 34.
Can I ask you a question about that?
The Sox are in a better space.
Specifically about that person. Yep. If you're a Philadelphia Philly fan, who would you rather have, Mike Trout or Luis Robert? Knowing all the history of Mike Trout being a Philadelphia guy, a South Philly guy, a South New Jersey guy, with all the money attached.
It's all the money attached?
Yeah, you get all the stuff that is true about them right now, but that specific market. If you're a Phillies fan,
is the prospect return the same? Because if you're eating all that money, I feel like you could probably just get Mike Trout for like a bag of balls.
No, yeah, it's the same. You're trading them for the similar amount of people.
I'd take Robert.
Okay.
I take Robert just because, Robert just played 145 games in 2023. Last time Trout's played 130 plus was 2019.
Yeah.
Like it's been a long time. I think Trout's obviously still the better player, but I mean, if it's equal what you're giving up, I take Robert.
And if you're thinking about the years ahead, I'd take Luis Robert.
Me too. But if I was a Phillies fan, I'm like, man, I love my local product right there. And I want him to be here and be my guy. Even though it's a lot of money and John Middleton won't like it, having Mike Trout be the center fielder the next 5 years would be smooth.
We'll get to more Crochet talk in just a second. Christian saying, I'm just over the complete tear it down moves because 8 years flew by with 3 playoff wins. Doubtful White Sox front office can overcome Jerry being Jerry. Just to that point, when was the last time the Angels have won a playoff game? Does anyone know? I mean, I think the White Sox at least have more
2002.
I was going to say 2002.
When they won the World Series.
Yeah.
In 2005, they definitely won one game.
Oh, yeah, Paul Bird.
Unfortunately, it was the only
that jerk
game in the White Sox run that I went to.
They got swept, right, when Mike Trout played, when he played his only his playoff series.
Yeah,
I think that was 2012.
2014. 2014. 0-13. 2009 was the last time they won a playoff game. So I hear it, but I think this is the right direction because there is more of a direction. And I hear overcoming Jerry being Jerry. I'm not going to be a person to defend Jerry Reinsdorf. That's just, wasting time. You have to hope that Chris Getz is the person that is changing Jerry's mind, that the whole talk a year and a half ago was not just a load of crap, that Jerry Reinsdorf truly believes in Chris Getz's ability to change the White Sox front office organization, and the additions of McKinven, Fuller, Bannister are going to lead to that. It's going to be a slower process, but you at this point, you just have to trust Getz. And I'm not going to say, they have to earn it, obviously. Right. I mean, it's not anything that I think.
And it's really early to make any kind of a judgment on that, I think. But you're right. You kind of have to hope that the path that the White Sox have chosen to take is one that's going to pay off, even if it does take a little while, because as we've seen, the state of the organization is not good right now, but at least there's, like I said earlier, at least there's movement that you can see moving in the right direction. Or again, if I'm the Angels, it's just they've been doing the same thing for 15 years now.
And the thing is, too, with the Angels, like, I know White Sox fans, and when we say this all the time, Jerry, spend money, spend money, spend money. The Angels are the example of spending a bunch of money, just not knowing how to spend a bunch of money. I mean, because they've signed the Albert Pujols to 10-plus years and a bunch of money, but they signed him on the other side of 30. They signed a bunch of money to Anthony Rendon, and he has been a pumpkin.
Josh Hamilton.
CJ
Wilson.
I mean, the names keep on going on. So Artie Moreno is not cheap. Just as general managers, Jerry Dipoto and now Perry Manessian have not spent the money correctly on the players that they need to, and they always coming up like second best. I mean, of course, they signed Shohei Ohtani out of Japan, but it wasn't a lot of money because he's just like Sasaki wasn't like a true free agent where you could just spend a bunch of money and just get him for like $300 million. They got him for like $25-30 million.
And again, too, we tried to make this point last week. Chris Getz didn't get a top pick from this suffering.
No.
From this awful, horrible 121 year. I think this is the true, like, burn it down, have a tank year where you're at least giving yourself a 22% chance to get a top 6 pick. Because then if you are getting a top 6 pick and it's 6th, you're going to go back outside of the top 10. So you need the highest chance possible to get the best pick possible. And even though you can't change your draft with one player in Major League Baseball, you still want the best of the 6 regardless. Right. So I think that's the idea, and I understand it's tough to really commit to a rebuild. I think that's why people are really going to just be kind of apathetic towards the White Sox in 2025. So it's not a fun – I know our whole slogan is we make it fun to be a White Sox fan. We're being realistic as White Sox fans. What a fun slogan.
We will not lie to you at all. We will try to tell you the truth. Yeah, as I said, I got a lot of pushback. That 10-year thing, it's going to be tough.
And hey, Christian, we're with you. We're White Sox fans. And if we could get what the Royals had where they signed Seth Lugo and Michael Wacha, they spend $100 million, and they're able to get close to the playoffs and make it into the playoffs, that would be great. We just don't have a Bobby Witt. We thought we did with Luis Robert Jr., but he has not been that player.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just the true crumbling of this all. Moncada wasn't that player. Robert wasn't that player. Jimenez wasn't that player. Cease, etc. They just didn't have a Bobby Witt that could be 10 wins automatically.
And to be fair, they did what you kind of want your organization to do, which is pile up as many guys who could become the Bobby Witt, but you can't always control whether or not they do. And so you go back 5-6 years, and you did have a long list of guys that you thought, hey, this could be our superstar of the future. And it's, for a variety of reasons that didn't pan out. But I think going forward, you still want to take that approach. Let's make the list of potential Bobby Witts in our organization as long as we can, because there's that creates more of a chance that one of them does hit. It becomes that guy for you.
And hey, what if the White Sox had the second pick in the 2018 draft and not the third pick? We wouldn't be talking about tendering or non-tendering Andrew Vaughn. We'd just be celebrating Bobby Witt in the streets.
Damn.
I don't know. They probably still would have picked Andrew
Okay, stop
Vaughn.
it. Let me live the fantasy, okay? God, we have to take a break. All right, we'll take a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. We'll talk about Garrett Crochet and where he will end up this offseason. Jared, tell him about CHSN.
Yes, we are sponsored by Chicago Sports Network, the new home of the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox games. CHSN will broadcast more than 300 live games per year across the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox, and will feature a full lineup of original Chicago-focused sports content. They're also Chicago-based, Chicago-built, and Chicago to the core. And they're bringing it to every corner of Chicago across our 77 neighborhoods and beyond. At CHSN, Chicago comes first. Visit chsn.com for more info on how to watch Bulls, Hawks, and Sox games all season long.
Game Time has a feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Like I got a couple weeks ago for my birthday, my fiance Courtney sat me down close to the courtside, which I think NBA basketball close to courtside, there's nothing can beat it. It's no better live experience than going there. And in Game Time, Game Time picks out the filter. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And like I said, I went to the game for the Bulls game. There's nothing like live basketball. I'm going to Wrigley Field this Saturday to watch the Illini smoke Northwestern, and I got all those tickets on Game Time because I know that I'm going to get the best and lowest price guaranteed with their Game Time guarantee, which states if you find a lower price in your section and row, then on Game Time, they'll send you 110% of the difference, just like I got in Atlanta a couple years ago. A couple of the features I love about Game Time is the all-in pricing. Toggling this feature shows you the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Also, you get a view from your seat before you buy in the app. That is very clutch, especially if you're going to a place like Wrigley, which has obstructed views. And also with the Game Time ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. We're back here on the CHGO White Sox podcast on this sunny side day. I'm not used to it. Is it Sunnyside Days?
Sunnyside Days. That's the HGO.
Sunnyside Days. Sunnyside Days at CHGO. Use code HICHGO to get 50% off your first 3 purchases over at sunnyside.shop. Must be 21 plus or Illinois medical card holder.
Scratch and what the heck's there?
Incorrect.
A scratch-off thing.
I am currently not Herb Howard.
Nor will you ever be.
Never have been.
Not currently, no.
No.
You're
I'm not that great.
You're also not Jared Ingersoll.
I'm not Jared Ingersoll. I'm not Lawrence Holmes.
You're not?
Yeah, just Herb Lawrence.
Oh, okay.
Regular ass Herb Lawrence.
This whole time I thought you were Lawrence Holmes. Who would have known? Wait. By your name.
Yes.
Okay, that's a big reasoning. All right.
I look like me too.
You also look like Herb, and you don't look like Lawrence. All right, back here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. Hit that thumbs up button if you are watching. We got 50 people watching and only 12 likes, so hit that thumbs up button if you can. Hit that subscribe button. As Lawrence mentioned, we have a Blackhawks and Bulls postgame and a Bulls pregame show. So if you are looking for Bulls or Blackhawks coverage, we got you covered here on the CHGO Sports YouTube channel.
Did you know the Bulls are good now?
Are they?
They're like number 1 in that pool for going to the Emirates NBA Cup.
Matt Peck is shaking his head.
Can
you confirm or deny?
The Bulls are the first place team in their division in the Emirates Cup. I thought they were. In their group play. See?
Wow. First in their group play.
That means if they're
going to play the Celtics. That should be fine.
Vegas.
So they're technically currently number 1. That's the important thing, right?
Yeah.
Bulls are number 1.
Hey, we got to celebrate the small victories.
It's only up from here, right? Is that the saying? Okay, all right. Well, all right. Matt's saying something that we can't say on air.
And the Celtics are terrible, right?
Yeah, the Celtics are very bad. And also, Lawrence is going to be flashing the Black Friday sales event up there. You can go get merch like this. I guess I'm blocking it. Our CHGO pizza merch or anything like maybe one of these hats either I have or Herb has or even Jared's shirt. Head over to allcitynetwork.com, store.allcitynetwork.com, or scan the QR code there, and you get 30% off right now if you're a diehard. If not, you'll have to wait until Thursday for that Black Friday sale to be. You have to wait till Friday for that Black Friday sale to be live. Maybe. Hit that thumbs up button and make sure you're subscribing to the video. We appreciate everyone hanging out with us. All right, let's get into the Garrett Crochet talk and where he will end up. I do want to ask you this. This Blake Snell signing has been talked about, him being an innings eater. He has thrown 180 innings before in both of his Cy Young award-winning seasons, 2018 and 2023. Last year, he didn't sign until late and was still very good, a 3.12 ERA in 104 innings pitched. But I ask you this. Why would teams be interested in Blake Snell and Max Fried when both of them had extensive history, injury history, and while Snell has pitched 180 innings before, Garrett Crochet in 2024 pitched the third most. If you put him into Blake Snell's career stats, he would be the third most innings pitched by Blake Snell if you threw Garrett Crochet's number. It's very wordy, but
I know what you mean.
180.2, 180, and 129 and a third are Snell's top three. Crochet pitching 140 plus this season. If you're a GM, isn't there just a ton of tantalizing potential there to be untouched with Garrett Crochet? I don't understand giving Max Fried $140 million. I'll give Garrett Crochet 105.
Garrett Crochet is 25 years old.
Right.
It's easy to forget that given how long ago he debuted. But yeah, he's 25. In any other context, if you said, I've got a 25-year-old left-handed starter who can throw upper 90s and just gave you a 130 inning season, who's not taking that right now? And he's available in a trade for a handful of your prospects. They'd all be lining up. I think for some reason there's a little bit of hesitancy based on Crochet's injury history, but honestly, these days in Major League Baseball, which pitcher doesn't have some kind of injury history? Right. I mean, don't they all just get Tommy John when they're 16 preemptively anyway? So, I mean, Tommy John is hardly even noteworthy anymore. So, yeah, 25-year-old left-handed starter that can do what Garrett Crochet has done. Every team should be lining up for that.
And also, as Jared just said, Garrett just had his Tommy John a couple of years ago, and he's still throwing this hard. So I don't even think he's at the top of his powers of coming back from that Tommy John, because he did, first half where he was going full bore, and then the second half they geared him down to trade him in this offseason. I think you're going to get full bore Garrett Crochet for $3 million next year, and then maybe $8 million the year after. And so there should be people lining down the street for Garrett Crochet. That's why when you asked for the top 5, I was like 29, top 29 teams, because
I wouldn't have said no. You could have done it,
because every team, while in the Sasaki, the Roki Sasaki sweepstakes, will also be in the Garrett Crochet sweepstakes, because both young, both youthful, both fresh arms. But Garrett Crochet has actually pitched in the major leagues, and you pretty much know what you're going to get from him for the next 2 years. While, the Sasaki thing, you're going to sign him for a cheap deal, but also you don't know what you're going to get. Maybe top of the rotation stuff, but I would say every team in major leagues can afford him. Now, do they have the prospect capital to trade for him is the different thing there. So, yeah, I think that should be the number one target over all starting pitchers. Blake Snell did sign that deal last night, but if you were to ask me to rank which available free agent / trade chip at starting pitcher would you be looking for as the number one guy, Garrett Crochet for me is the number one guy. Burns is on the other side of 30. He's still strong, but it's a lot of money you're going to have to pay for Corbin Burns. Garrett Crochet only cost you maybe $10 million for the next couple of years. And if you want to sign to an extension, this is the perfect time to do it, and he's willing. So you better go ahead and trade for him.
I agree. And again, I just think that this is the right time to buy on a player. It's similar-ish to what you're currently seeing with Juan Soto. I mean, this is a player that has all of the time left in the world to make something of his career. The future is completely ahead of him. Obviously, it's a little bit different because Soto's been playing since he's literally like 19 and doing this since he was 19. Crochet, there is a little bit more of question marks. I felt like all those questions were answered. Again, we were wondering, can he throw 100 for an entire month? He threw 100 for an entire month. Can he keep this up until August? He kept it up until August. He had a little bit of a dip, but I think that was honestly just because the All-Star break kind of threw him out of his routine. It was post-All-Star break. He didn't look as good, but near the end of the year, he bounced back fairly decently. I do wonder what he would have looked like without innings restrictions. I think he probably could have hit 160 if they didn't have those injury restrictions or those inning restrictions on him. I think you're right. I think he's probably already through the Tommy John recovery. If you want a stud ace pitcher, I think Garrett Crochet is absolutely going to be that in 2025. It's just about taking that gamble. Let's get into our what's it called here? Top power rankings.
Top suitors.
Yes, top suitors. Also, weird note here. Just wanted to make this. Since 2020, at least pitching 130 innings, requiring strikeout per 9 greater than 12, and bases on ball lower than 2.1. Here are the pitchers that have done that since 2020. Garrett Cole, Corbin Burns,
he's decent,
and Garrett Crochet.
Great company. Awesome company.
Is it? Is that good?
Awesome company.
2021 Garrett Cole, 2021 Corbin Burns, 2024 Garrett Crochet.
Yeah, and they got broke off big time. Or Burns will get broke off big time this year. And all you had to do is trade your prospects for Garrett Crochet.
Garrett Cole was 30. Corbin Burns was 26. Garrett Crochet in his first year doing this, 25. And that's the one thing, too, with Snell. Snell walks the yard. Garrett Crochet throws strikes and dares you to hit it. Let's get into our power rankings, Jared. We'll start with you. You were hesitant to give us a true power ranking.
Yeah.
So, don't hold Jared too strictly to this 1 through 5, but give us your top 5 teams and your thought process behind this.
Yeah, so I went with the Orioles number 1 just because we mentioned Corbin Burns moments ago, and I think they're going to be looking to fill that spot in their rotation. And the Orioles also have the prospects or the young players that they could put together a package that would be appealing to the White Sox, but is also not going to decimate what the Orioles have going. Because you're talking about teams that are on the rise in baseball in general, but especially in the American League, it's Baltimore. So they make a lot of sense as matching up in a trade for Crochet. The Red Sox, there's been a lot of talk about Boston here in the last couple of days. They clearly are looking to make some moves to improve upon what the last couple of years have looked like. There are lots of rumors swirling with them and Juan Soto. So they also make a lot of sense to match up with the White Sox in a trade. Same kind of goes for the Phillies. They have, some major league players that I think could make some sense for the White Sox to fill some holes. Although if I'm Chicago, I'm not sure that's what I'm looking for right now. I'm probably still focused on prospects, really building up that minor league system. Then the Padres, mostly because they paired up in March with the Dylan Cease trade. San Diego is now probably looking at what the Dodgers are doing and working on, like, what do we need to do to match that, or how do we at least stay competitive as much as we can with LA. And then lastly, I think the Cubs make a lot of sense. The Cubs are in the market for pitching this offseason. They have minor league talent that the White Sox could use. They have paired up in trades in recent history. Not all of those have worked out. We talked about the Craig Kimbrell trade of a few years ago on the Cubs show on Monday, but
it's kind of a wash.
Yeah, that was kind of the conclusion we came to, is neither team really won that trade.
I think the White Sox won because they got rid of Nick Madrigal.
It was great. It was a celebration that
Probably
day.
one of the best days of my life.
I remember celebrating hard on this. Like, literally, we were on the air, and when that happened, I was like, let's go. Because I remember so many people were just so Nick Madrigal. They're like, man, this guy's going to be the truth. I'm like, no, he isn't. He's terrible. And we were sold a bill of goods with that bum.
Next Ty Cobb.
Mr. 3000.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think I'd be tempted even to move the Cubs higher on the list, if not for the fact that there hasn't been a lot of actual talk about that. This is just my own kind of looking at the two teams and thinking this really makes a lot of sense for both clubs.
Yeah, I would agree. And that Padres, I didn't have them in there, but that makes a lot of sense for me because of what you just said. The Dodgers making that move, Padres probably like, yeah, we got to have a adjustment to that because we can't compete money-wise, but we can compete maybe with our prospects.
I didn't realize we were so close to the break. We're going to take a break. We'll hear Herb's top 5 and my top 5 after this next break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. Herb, you like beer?
I do.
You'll be drinking some tomorrow?
Oh, you know I will be. The weather is getting colder, but you don't have to give up your summertime mindset because our favorite beer is here year-round. Of course, it's Leinenkugel Summer Shandy, now available year-round. It's the perfect companion for any time of the year. And you know, when I'm at the ballpark or at the arena, like I said, I was at the Bulls game, I'm looking for a Summer Shandy. I'm going to be at Wrigley on Saturday. I'm going to be looking for a Summer Shandy, either pre-game, during game, or after the game, because, firstly, it's delicious lemony flavor. Oh, man, I tell you what, there's nothing better than a delicious Summer Shandy. And also, your mind in the winter, it kind of gets a little bit affected by the overcast, cloudy weather. Summer Shandy just brings you back. It's like, yeah, I remember that August day. It was great at the ballpark. That sensory of drinking something so fresh and lemony brings you back to summer. So that's what I look for. For over 150 years, Leinenkugel has combined German brewing traditions with Wisconsin innovation. You don't just have to pick one. Leinenkugel has also has popular variety packs that come in 4 favorites to try and enjoy. You can flavor every moment with Leinenkugels, the official beer of the Chicago White Sox. That's the team we cover. Go to Leineys.com/CHGO to find delivery options near you. That's LEINIE.com/CHGO, or pick up Leinenkugels pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Leinenkugels, flavor the moment, celebrate responsibly. The Jacob Leinenkugel Brewing Company, Chippewa Falls.
Yes. We also want to let you know about our friends over at Empire Today. With Empire Today, you get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, quick and professional installation, and a low price guarantee. Empire Today is the best place to get new flooring, so of course they have copycats, but Empire cannot be beaten on their quality, service, and speed. That's why competitors advertise low-quality products that Empire simply won't carry. Empire won't promise the lowest prices because anyone who does is putting flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in theirs. Empire keeps shopping for floors simple with a curated product selection. Their philosophy is to help you find what you need and not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. And you can look at their choices with their virtual floor designer. It's a great way to see how new floors will look in any space. It's easy. Just snap a picture and instantly see how new floors will transform any of your rooms. So schedule a free in-home estimate today, and all listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use promo code CHGO. Restrictions apply. See EmpireToday.com/CHGO for details. Again, use code CHGO for $350 off discount over at EmpireToday.com/CHGO. To get to some of the comments here, mainly the talk of Sasaki. Christian saying, what are the odds we can go for Sasaki and then trade Crochet to reset the clock? And Ryan saying, you think the Sox are waiting for Sasaki and higher level pitchers to sign to then see who's in a bind to overpay for Crochet? It is possible for at least that second part, but I think it's just very fitting that now Boston was like, oh, we were in on Snell and now we're going to be looking at Max Fried. I think they're going to just look for the best possible deal. So if Max Fried wants to sign at their number, they'll say yes to Max Fried. If the White Sox cave in on their price a little bit, or if the White Sox are able to get the Red Sox to cave in on their price a little bit, it's really just about who is going to be the most malleable in a deal. I don't think the White Sox are waiting for anything in specific outside of people just to come up from their price. I don't know if that's going to be too long from now, though, because it seems like the Soto domino is going to fall some point in December. Sasaki, I think, is going to post December 15th?
15th, yeah.
So 15th, yeah. We should probably have a Crochet trade by at latest the end of January, I think, or maybe mid-January.
I was going to say probably even sooner than that, but because once you get Soto, not that the Soto free agency has a huge impact on Crochet, but I do think Sasaki, that's a factor. Max Fried is a factor, and there are probably some teams that would do both Fried and trade for Crochet. So if a team signs Fried, it doesn't automatically mean that they're out on Crochet.
Yeah, absolutely. I did do some more research, too, on that stat, 130 innings pitched, more than a 12K per nine, less than a 2K per nine since 2014. Again, just there's 9 players. Just let me know if you think anyone really sticks out here. Justin Verlander in 2019, Chris Sale in 2017, right. Justin Verlander in 2018, Garrett Cole in 2019, Garrett Cole in 2021, Max Scherzer in 2019, Corbin Burns in 2021, Chris Sale in 2018, and Garrett Crochet is the 9th and final list named there on 2024.
Have all those players won Cy Youngs except for Garrett Crochet?
I was just thinking those are all Cy Young winners, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that good?
That seems good.
Do you want people to win Cy Youngs?
Good.
And he should have won the Cy Young this year if he would have went full. He was better than Tarek Skubal. I'm going to say also, he's better than Tarek Skubal.
Well, who's the Guardians reliever, not Class A, getting Cy Young votes? Like, what's going on?
I forgot who it was.
Cade Smith?
Yeah.
Mercy. Come on, folks.
Is that just a local Cleveland guy doing the votes?
That's a Yohan Moncada 10th place vote if I've ever seen it. Shout out to James Fegan. All right, let's get into Herb's top 5.
My 2 top teams are the Red Sox and the Cubs for similar reasons. They're both teams that haven't gone to the playoffs in a while, known to have a bunch of money. Both fan bases are in a fervor for getting back to the playoffs. Now, the Red Sox are a little different. They have like a second or third year general manager in Craig Breslow, who came from the Cubs. And Jed Hoyer is now probably on the hot seat for trying to get to the playoffs. I don't think he has been into the playoffs since he took over for Theo as the baseball ops guy. So I'm sure people are like, you didn't get your ass to the playoffs. And the way you can get to the playoffs and not spend money, apparently that's what the Cubs don't do now, spend money, cheap bums, this is the way you can do it, just prospects. And both the teams have a similar problem. They have prospects that are ready to come to the major leagues, especially in the outfield, that need to come to the major leagues. And there are people like Wilyer Abreu, like Ian Happ, like Cody Bellinger, that are blocking these people from being major league players. So how you do that is you package those people into a trade, and then you get a starting pitcher. So the Red Sox and Cubs are my 1-2. The Phillies are there just because of Dave Dombrowski and his affinity for trading and to going for the gusto. And they don't need Garrett Crochet, but it's never a bad idea to have as much starting pitcher as you can, and Garrett Crochet would fit right into that 5-man rotation like a glove. They would be the best rotation. I think the best rotation in the National League. Yes, better than those Dodgers. And then the Yankees, they're always looking to compete. They saw last year that the Dodgers are just on a different level than them. The Dodgers said that the most tough team that they've faced is the Padres. So I'm sure the Yankees took that as some type of way. Having Garrett Crochet and Garrett Cole for a full year would be solid. They have the prospects. It's the thing of, do they want to include those prospects into a trade for the White Sox? And then the last team I have is the Dodgers. They're relentless. They could have Garrett Crochet with the prospects they have and have no sweat off their back. And like, yeah, we'll have that guy. We signed Tyler Glasnow to a deal where that man didn't pitch at all the years before. He was hurt the years before. We signed him to a contract extension and he got hurt. This year, we still won a World Series. We don't give a goddamn. Who cares? And that's the Dodgers' attitude about everything. Throw money at it, trade for it. And where do you see a Dodger prospect that they traded away? It's like, man, that really hurt them. I can't look for one. I can't find one. Pepio might be eventually, but they're good.
I have to think
and
about
also of note to add on to what you said about the Cubs is Jed Hoyer is going into the last year of his contract. So you could make a case that he's even more incentivized to do all that he can to get them back into the postseason because he's got one more year.
Well, why don't we start with my 5th team? All right. We'll start at 5 and we'll go to 1. The Chicago Cubs are my 5th team. I think the Cubs can put together a fairly compelling package. It seems like they have the prospects. The issue is they'd have to do something. They'd actually have to go out and make a deal, which seems very difficult for Jed Hoyer's front office to pull the trigger on big moves. And it seemingly happened with our White Sox. It happened when you signed Dallas Keuchel and Yasmani Grandal. Good enough moves. I think that's very similar to Imanaga and Cody Bellinger. They're good enough moves, but as you saw with the White Sox rebuild, it got you 3 playoff wins. You see with the Cubs right now, it gets you some great performances from Imanaga, but Bellinger was down last year. What if Imanaga is down in 2025 and Bellinger's back to his, 2023 production? they need to go out and make a big move, and I think that going out and getting Crochet and extending him could be an exclamation on Hoyer's reign and possibly could help for getting another contract. 4, I have the Yankees. Garrett Cole and Rodon, while they still seemingly have some left in the tank, they all of them have dealt with injury issues. We saw Cole's 2024 start due to an issue, an elbow issue. It was sidelined and postponed due to an elbow issue, and Rodon, we know his plethora of injuries. His time with the Sox was maligned with injuries. His start with the Yankees was maligned with injuries. I think you go out and get an ace, not only to help this team and help when you're going up against the Dodgers in the World Series in 2025, but it's your ace of the future. You are a team that 185 or whatever would not scare you, and if you're able to lock down an ace for that level under value, I think the Yankees, even though they have a ton of money, who doesn't like a good deal? So I think it's a really good deal for the Yankees, and it doesn't seem like they have their ace of the future. Do you trust 39-year-old Luis Heel? I guess he's not 39. Clark Schmidt, Will Warren.
Rookie of the year.
Like, Crochet is younger and cheaper than Snell or Fried, and I think it would be a great ad for the Yankees, and they do have the prospects. Yeah. Third on my list, it's a mystery team. Sean McAdam of Mass Live. Oh, sorry. 3 is the Mets, because I actually talked myself into the mystery team being more interesting. The third is the Mets. As we've said, money is no issue, Steve Cohen, but a good deal is a good deal. What are prospects to the man with endless piles of cash? If the Mets can acquire Soto, would they not want cheap young pitching? If they're going out and spending $600 million on Soto, why wouldn't they do that? I feel while the track record is shorter, Crochet is better than Snell or Fried. I think the top end is better than both those pitchers, and the Mets can go get the best left-handed pitcher for a deal right now. I think it makes sense, and I think that's why David Stearns was hired. Go get me good players on good deals. Garrett Crochet could be that, and I think with Jet Williams, Drew Gilbert, and Luis Angel Acuna, they can make a very interesting package and a competitive package, and it seems like they're more driven than the Cubs because, again, some team has to beat the Dodgers. I don't think Steve Cohen's scared by that feat. Second is a mystery team. Sean McAdam of Mass Live reported that there is a mystery team out there. Obviously, he's been very in touch with the Red Sox front office, and apparently there's a mystery team out there. So who can it be? We've heard it reported interest from the Red Sox and Phillies, so it's not them. We know the Dodgers, Yankees, and Padres were all interested at the deadline. The White Sox seem to be very interested in the Orioles, but the Orioles don't seem interested in the White Sox.
No.
Could it be the Cubs? Is that really a mystery team?
I mean,
I don't think so.
I haven't really heard any rumors outside of us creating them.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's fair. AL Central teams don't make sense because they're all broke and KC has spent their money. So I don't think that they would go out and sign a pitcher, a left-handed pitcher, to an extension unless it's Cole Reagans, who's currently on their team. Dana Brown doesn't seem savvy enough to be in on Crochet. I don't think the Reds need Crochet and would like to keep their prospects as they build. The Brewers are also too broke. Same with the Pirates. Angels have made their moves. I think it comes down to 3 teams.
The A's?
No. The Blue Jays?
Okay, that makes sense.
The Braves?
That definitely makes sense.
And the team that I actually think it is, the San Francisco Giants.
Giants.
I don't think the Braves have enough to get Crochet in return for prospects. I think they love pretty free agent extensions, so they love the idea of getting Crochet. They're also losing Fried. It seems like the Blue Jays have looked to spend money, but it seems like they only have money. They don't really have the prospects to leverage a deal for a Crochet. I think the Giants have the best chance of getting an actual prospect package together, and it seems like they've been desperate to spend money. They just lost Blake Snell. I don't think they're getting Max Fried. Crochet could be a true long-term extension idea for them, and I think with new GM and head of front office Buster Posey instilled at that position, he is going to try to make some splash. So the Giants are my second team, and then the Red Sox at number 1. John Morosi saying today that the Red Sox are interested in Crochet and that the White Sox are not interested in players who have already made their debut. And I think the Red Sox can put together a package like that. They're always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Now after missing Snell, it seems like they're in on Fried. It seems like they're looking for a left-handed ace. Maybe Crochet's too fastball-oriented for Andrew Bailey's liking, a guy who really loves pulling secondaries out of pitchers, but a great pitcher is great pitchers. I think if they were able to offer Mayer, Anthony, or Campbell, the White Sox would agree to a deal today, and the rest would be figured out. I just don't think they've offered any of their top 3 or even top 4 prospects if you want to throw Kyle Teal into there. So I think the Red Sox can get a deal done. It's just about them offering the necessary pieces. But that's going to do it for the CHGO White Sox podcast. We'll be back On Friday, we have a show where we're going to be drafting all-time that guys for the Chicago White Sox. So make sure you tune in then. And then next week, we'll be back on Monday at 4 p.m. to talk about any more Crochet news. We want to thank Jared Wyllys for joining the show. You can follow him at J Wyllys, Y's instead of I's, on X. You can also go follow him at J Wyllys, Y's instead of I's on Blue Sky.
That's correct.
That's our guy, Herb Lawrence, our CHGO White Sox community leader. I'm Sean Anderson, your CHGO White Sox host. I don't know if they have good positional prospects, but the show's ending, Chris. And so I don't know if they have enough prospects. I don't know. It was just a thought. That's going to end the show. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.